Welcome back to the channel Valuable Coins HD, where we explore the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. Today, I've got a coin that's not just a piece of history but also a potential treasure waiting to be discovered. We're diving into the world of the Kennedy half dollar, specifically the 1776 to 1976 edition, a coin that holds both historical significance and potential value far beyond its face value. If you're a collector or just someone interested in coin history, stick around, because what we're about to discuss could change the way you view this iconic half-dollar coin. Let's start with a bit of history to understand why the 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half dollar is so special. As you might know, the United States celebrated its bicentennial in 1976, marking 200 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. To commemorate this momentous occasion, the U.S. Mint issued a series of special coins, including the 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half dollar. Now, you might think, it's just a half-dollar coin, but there's more to it than meets the eye. This coin was designed as a special edition to honor the bicentennial, and its reverse side features a striking design with a colonial drummer, symbolizing the birth of the nation. It's a unique and powerful image, contrasting with the typical reverse design that features the presidential seal. This new design was created by artist Seth G. Huntington, and it quickly became a symbol of the United States' rich history, but the real reason this coin is so interesting to collectors today goes beyond its commemorative nature. While many of these 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half dollars were produced in large numbers, certain variants of the coin, particularly those with unique minting errors or in impeccable condition, have become highly desirable and, in some cases, extremely valuable. Let's take a look at some of the factors that make the 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half dollar so rare and valuable. First, there's the condition. Like with any coin, the state of preservation is critical when it comes to its value. A coin in mint condition, or one that's been kept in excellent condition, is far more valuable than one that's seen heavy circulation. Many of the 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half dollars were used in everyday transactions, so finding one that's in near-perfect condition is a real treasure. If you happen to come across one with little to no wear or damage, you might have a coin that's worth far more than the 50 cents stamped on its face, but what really makes this coin stand out are the rare minting errors that can make certain 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half dollars worth a fortune. One of the most exciting errors collectors look for is the dual die error. This occurs when the coin's design is struck twice in the same place, resulting in a doubled image. If you find a 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half dollar with a noticeable doubling effect on the date or other features of the coin, you could have a highly sought-after piece on your hands. These dual die errors are especially prized because they make the coin stand out in a way that no other regular coin can. Another minting error that adds to the coin's value is the off-center strike. When the coin is not properly aligned in the minting press, part of the design is either missing or shifted to one side. An off-center strike can make the coin look quite unique, and collectors are always eager to get their hands on coins with this error. If you come across a 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half dollar with a portion of the design cut off or misaligned, it could be worth significantly more than a regular one. And of course, there's another feature that adds value to the 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half dollar, the special composition. While most half dollars minted before and after 1976 were made of 40% silver, the 1776 to 1976 coin was initially minted in copper-nickel, except for certain proof sets and special issues, which were made of 90% silver. These silver versions of the coin, especially those in perfect or near-perfect condition, are even more valuable to collectors who seek precious metals in their collections. Now, you might be wondering, what's the real value of a 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half dollar? How much is it worth? Well, for most of the regular circulation coins, the value is pretty close to their face value, just 50 cents. However, the rare and valuable variants, such as those with minting errors, exceptional condition, or silver content, can be worth an incredible amount more. In fact, if you happen to come across a 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half dollar in perfect condition, or one with an impressive error, it could be worth as much as $164,000. Yes, you heard that right, $164,000 for a single half-dollar coin. It's mind-blowing to think that a coin that you might come across in your loose change could have such an astronomical value. For a coin to reach that price, it has to have some serious rarity factors working in its favor, such as a rare minting error or being one of the limited edition proof coins made of 90% silver. These coins are extremely rare, and if you happen to find one, you could be holding a piece of history worth a small fortune. So, the next time you find a 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar, take a closer look. Examine the date, the condition, and especially the design. Look for any minting errors, like double dies or off-center strikes. And if the coin is made of silver or in pristine condition, you might just have a hidden treasure on your hands. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed learning about the 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar and how a seemingly ordinary coin could be worth so much more. Today, I've got a fascinating piece for you, the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar. This coin might seem like just another half-dollar from the early 70s, but trust me, there's more to it than meets the eye. Stick around because what we're about to dive into could make you look at your change jar in a whole new light. Now, let's talk about why the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar is so special. This coin was minted during a time when the US was going through major changes. The 1970s were a period of economic turbulence, but despite all that, the Kennedy half-dollar remained a symbol of American pride and history. The coin itself features the iconic portrait of President John F. Kennedy on the obverse, a tribute to the 35th president who was tragically assassinated in 1963. The reverse, on the other hand, features the presidential seal, making this coin a staple in American coinage. But what makes the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar so intriguing for collectors? The story begins with a series of minting errors that occurred during production, which turned this coin from a simple half-dollar into a potential treasure trove for collectors. You see, minting errors are one of the most exciting things to look for in the world of coin collecting. A small mistake during the coin-making process can dramatically increase a coin's value, and that's exactly what happened with the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar. One of the most sought-after errors in these coins is the double die error. This happens when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned, causing parts of the coin's design to appear doubled. On the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar, collectors often look for doubled features, such as the date or the lettering around the coin's edges. A coin with noticeable doubling, especially on the "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" inscriptions, can be incredibly valuable. These double die errors are often the key to unlocking a fortune in coin collecting. Another minting error that adds to the coin's rarity is the off-center strike. This happens when the blank planchet, or metal disc, isn't properly centered in the minting press, causing part of the design to be cut off. If you've got a 1972 Kennedy half-dollar that's missing part of the presidential seal or even part of Kennedy's portrait, congratulations. That's an off-center strike, and it could significantly increase the value of your coin, but that's not all. There's another intriguing feature of the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar that sets it apart: the condition of the coin. As with any collectible item, the better the condition, the higher the value. A coin that's been well preserved and shows little to no signs of wear and tear is far more valuable to collectors than a coin that's been circulated heavily. The 1972 Kennedy half-dollar, like many others, was produced in large quantities, but finding one in near-perfect condition is relatively rare. If you happen to find one that's in mint state, it could be worth far more than the face value of 50 cents. In fact, a 1972 Kennedy half-dollar that is in pristine condition and exhibits one of these rare errors can skyrocket in value. Now, let's talk about how much you could expect to get for one of these amazing coins. While most 1972 Kennedy half-dollars are worth just 50 cents in regular circulation, the rare ones, especially those with significant minting errors or in exceptional condition, can fetch prices in the thousands. Are you ready for this? A 1972 Kennedy half-dollar with a rare error or in perfect condition could be worth as much as $155,000. Yes, you heard that right, $155,000 for a single 50-cent coin. This is what makes coin collecting such an exciting and rewarding hobby. What might look like an ordinary coin could turn out to be an incredible find worth a small fortune. All it takes is a keen eye for details and a little bit of luck to stumble upon a coin like this in your collection. So, what should you be looking for when searching through your change? Keep an eye out for those minting errors, double die errors, off-center strikes, and even signs of exceptional preservation. If you've got a 1972 Kennedy half-dollar, take the time to examine it closely. Look for doubling in the design or any other signs that it might be a unique piece. And if you're lucky enough to find a coin in mint condition, you could be holding onto something incredibly valuable. That's it for today's dive into the world of the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar. I hope this video has given you a new perspective on this coin and shown you just how much potential it holds for collectors. Today, we've got an exciting one for you. We're going to talk about a coin that may look pretty standard on the surface, but with a closer look, it holds secrets that could make you a fortune. I'm talking about the 1988 Kennedy half-dollar. While most people may overlook this coin as just another half-dollar from the late 80s, there's more to this coin than meets the eye. In fact, this unassuming half-dollar could be worth far more than you think. First, let's talk about the basics of the 1988 Kennedy half-dollar. This coin was minted during the 1980s, a period when the U.S. Mint was still producing regular circulating coins as part of everyday currency. The Kennedy half-dollar, which was first introduced in 1964 as a tribute to the late President John F. Kennedy, was designed to honor his legacy. The coin features a bust of President Kennedy on the obverse, while the reverse side displays the U.S. presidential seal, a timeless design that represents the strength and unity of the United States. So, what makes the 1988 Kennedy half-dollar stand out in the world of coin collecting? It's all about rarity and condition. For most coins, the rarer they are and the better their condition, the more valuable they become. The 1988 Kennedy half-dollar isn't the rarest coin in circulation. Plenty of them were minted and spent as regular currency. But here's the catch: finding one in excellent condition, or even better, one with a rare minting error, can make a huge difference in its value. One of the most sought-after factors that drive up the value of the 1988 Kennedy half-dollar is its rarity in uncirculated or near-perfect condition. As you can imagine, coins that have been in circulation for decades often suffer from wear and tear, making them less desirable for collectors. However, coins that have been carefully preserved or those that remain in pristine, uncirculated condition can command much higher prices. If you happen to have a 1988 Kennedy half-dollar that's been stored well, you may be holding onto a hidden gem. But here's where things get really interesting: minting errors. This is where the excitement for collectors begins. Minting errors can add a huge premium to the coin's value. Even though the 1988 Kennedy half-dollar was minted in large numbers, there are a few key errors that make certain coins incredibly rare. One of the most common errors that collectors look for is the double die error. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned, causing the features of the coin to appear doubled. Imagine seeing the date, 1988, on the coin, but with the numbers doubled or the lettering showing a slight overlap. This type of error is extremely desirable to collectors and can make a coin worth thousands of dollars more than its face value. Another minting error that can drive up the value of the 1988 Kennedy half-dollar is the off-center strike. This happens when the blank metal planchet, the round piece of metal before it's stamped with the design, isn't properly aligned in the press, causing the design to be off-center. These off-center strikes are unique and stand out from regular coins, making them a highly sought-after treasure for coin collectors. The more pronounced the error, the more valuable the coin can become. In addition to the errors, the 1988 Kennedy half-dollar also stands out because of the composition. This coin was minted with a copper-nickel clad composition, which was the standard for U.S. half-dollars produced after 1971. While it doesn't have the same silver content as earlier Kennedy half-dollars, collectors still value it for its design and historical significance. Coins with higher silver content, such as those in proof sets or special editions, are typically more valuable, but even a regular 1988 Kennedy half-dollar in exceptional condition can fetch a premium. So, now you're probably wondering, just how much could a 1988 Kennedy half-dollar be worth? Well, the value can vary based on its condition and any potential minting errors. Regular coins in circulated condition are worth close to their face value, 50 cents. But if you find a well-preserved example, or even better, a coin with a minting error, the price can jump significantly. And for those of you who are sitting down, here's the incredible part: if you have a 1988 Kennedy half-dollar in pristine condition, with a rare minting error, you could be looking at a coin worth $138,000, yes, you heard that right, $138,000 for a single coin. That's the kind of treasure you could be holding in your hands if you have the right version of this coin. It's mind-blowing to think that a coin worth just 50 cents at face value could potentially fetch this kind of price. But that's what makes the world of coin collecting so exciting. Coins that you might overlook in your spare change could turn out to be worth a small fortune, all thanks to a combination of rarity, condition, and the occasional minting error. So, the next time you come across a 1988 Kennedy half-dollar, take a moment to inspect it closely. Is it in good condition? Does it have any signs of doubling or an off-center strike? If you're lucky enough to find one of these rare versions, you could be in for a big payday. I hope today's video has opened your eyes to the hidden potential of the 1988 Kennedy half-dollar. As always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future coin discoveries. Coin collecting is full of surprises, and you never know when you might uncover something truly valuable. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting.